Today, we are opening a secret notebook. It belongs to a man named Jules Flegmon. He lives in Paris, and the year is 1941. World War II is happening right now, and France is a difficult place to live. There is not enough food, and people are struggling. Let's read his diary entries together. February 10th. A stupid rumor is spreading around the city about new rules. People say that Paris doesn't have enough food. Because of this, the government wants to kill all useless people, meaning people who do not work and do not produce anything for society, like retired people, old people, and people without jobs. Honestly, I think this is a good and fair idea. Today, I met my neighbor, Mr. Roquentin. He is 70 years old, but 1 year ago, he married a young woman of 24. He was very angry about the rumor. "Age doesn't matter," he shouted. "My young wife is very happy with me." I looked at him and said politely, "You must be brave and give your life for our society, my friend." February 12th. Today, I had lunch with my old friend, Malafroy. He is an important city official. We drank a good bottle of wine, and he became very talkative. I asked him about the new rules, and he told me everything. As I thought, nobody wants to kill the useless people. The government will just cut their time. Malafroy explained that people will get life tickets. If a person is useful to society, they get more days to live. If they are useless, they get fewer days. The tickets are already printed. I think this idea is beautiful and poetic. We drank more wine, and Malafroy looked at me with kind, friendly eyes. He felt sorry for the people, but I was just excited. February 13th. This is a terrible crime. This is unfair. The new law is now in the newspapers. And guess what? Artists and writers are on the list of useless people. Maybe I can understand this rule for musicians or painters, but writers? This is crazy. This is the biggest scandal of our time. Writers are very useful, especially me. I can say this honestly. But the government says I can live only 15 days a month. February 16th. The new law starts on March 1st. The official lists of names will be in the newspapers on February 18th. Now, everyone on the list is running around and looking for a job. They want to become useful to get more days of life. But the government is very clever. They made a rule. Nobody can get a new job before February 25th. I decided to call my friend Malafroy. I wanted to ask him for a simple job, like a museum guard or an office worker. But I was too late. Malafroy just gave the last job to someone else. "Why did you wait so long?" he asked me angrily. I didn't know this rule was about me, I said. When we had lunch, you didn't say anything. Yes, I did, he answered. I told you very clearly that this law is for all useless people. February 17th. Today, my building manager, or concierge, as they say in France, looked at me like I was already dead, like a ghost. She didn't even bring me my morning letters. I was very angry and shouted at her. We, the best people of this country, must lose our lives just to feed lazy people like you. And it is true. The more I think about this new law, the more I hate it. It is completely stupid and unfair. I met my neighbor, Mr. Roquentin, and his young wife again. I feel very sorry for the poor old man. He gets only 6 days of life a month, but his young wife gets 15 days. This difference makes him very sad and desperate. But his pretty wife is completely calm about it. During the day, I saw people who are not on the useless list. I hate them. They don't understand our pain, and they don't say thank you. They think this terrible law is normal, and some of them even laugh. People are so selfish and cold. February 18th. Today, I waited for 3 hours in a long line at the City Hall to get my life tickets. There were 2,000 poor people there. We were all victims of the useful part of society. And this is only the beginning. Most of the people were not even old. There were young, beautiful women who looked very sad. Their eyes said, "I don't want to die yet." There were also some women who worked in nightlife entertainment, meaning they worked late at night in bars, clubs, or theaters. The new law was very cruel to them. They got only 7 days of life a month. One of them stood in front of me and complained. A man cannot fall in love with a woman in just 7 days. Personally, I don't think she is right. I was surprised and, honestly, a bit happy to see other writers and artists from my neighborhood in the line. They were all there. One writer was very angry and dark. He said that this law was a secret plan of the Jewish people. I think he is wrong. The new law is even worse for Jewish people. They get only half a day of life a month, no matter their age. The crowd in the line was very loud and angry. The police officers who watched us were very rude. They treated us like trash, which means they behaved very badly toward us and spoke to us as if we were not important. When people started to complain because they were tired of waiting, the police kicked them. I stayed quiet and kept my dignity. I controlled my emotions and kept my self-respect so they could not destroy my pride. But in my mind, I shouted, "This is a crime! Now we are not free anymore!" Finally, they gave me my life tickets. They are beautiful blue tickets. Each ticket is for 24 hours of life. The color is so soft and lovely that I want to cry when I look at them. February 24th. A week ago, I went to the government office. I asked them to change my rule because I am an important writer. They listened to me and gave me an extra day. Now I have 16 days of life a month. It is better than nothing. March 5th. The new law started 10 days ago. My life is so fast and crazy now that I forgot about my diary. I don't want to waste a single minute of my short life, so I almost stop sleeping. For the last 4 days, I wrote more pages than in 3 weeks of my normal life. My writing style is still wonderful and smart. I also want to enjoy life with beautiful women, but I don't have enough time. Because I want to get everything from life, or maybe because I am just angry, I eat huge dinners twice a day. I buy expensive food on the black market. Today at noon, I ate a lot of seafood, eggs, a big piece of goose, a steak, vegetables, cheese, fruit, and a chocolate cake at a restaurant. I was sad about my situation, but a cup of coffee made me feel a little bit happy. When I left the restaurant, I saw my neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Rocanton. Today is the last day of March for the poor old man. At midnight, he will use his 6th ticket. Then, he will completely disappear for 25 days. March 7th. I visited young Mrs. Rocanton. Her husband disappeared at midnight, so now she was temporarily alone. She was very nice to me, and she looked beautiful in her sadness. We talked about different things, and of course, about her husband. Lucette, that is her name, told me how her husband disappeared. They were both in bed. 1 minute before midnight, Mr. Rocanton held his wife's hand and gave her his last instructions. Then the clock struck 12. Suddenly, Lucette felt that her husband's hand was gone. There was nobody next to the young woman. Only an empty pajama lay in the bed, and his false teeth were on the pillow. This story made us both very emotional. Lucette cried a little, and I opened my arms to comfort her. March 12th. Yesterday evening, I went to visit academician Peruque. He is a member of the famous academy. To show respect to these old scholars, the government gave them a special rule. They can live every day without any limits. Peruque was terrible, selfish, and unkind. There were about 15 guests at his house. All of us were from the useless list, and we were using our last March tickets. But Peruque didn't have this problem. He looked down at us like we were lower people without any rights. He said he was sorry for us, but his eyes were happy. He was so glad that he was better than us. I wanted to call him a stupid old man, but I stayed quiet. Why? Because one day I want to take his place in the academy. March 13th. I had breakfast with my friends, the Dumonts. As always, they were fighting. Mr. Dumont shouted, "I wish I could buy life tickets for the second half of the month so I would never see you again." He said this very honestly, and Mrs. Dumont started to cry. March 16th. Tonight, young Lucette Roquantin disappeared. She was terribly afraid, so I decided to spend her last moments with her. I went to her apartment at 9:30, and she was already in bed. To make her feel better, I secretly changed the time on her clock. I moved the clock hands 15 minutes back. 5 minutes before midnight, Lucette started to cry. But because of the clock, she thought she still had 20 minutes left. So she started to brush her hair and look in the mirror. I looked at her carefully because I didn't want to miss the moment of her disappearance. She was laughing at one of my jokes, and suddenly her laugh stopped. She disappeared like magic. I touched the bed. It was still warm, but the room was completely silent, like death. I felt terrible. Even now, in the morning, I cannot forget it. Since I woke up, I can only count my own hours. Tonight, at midnight, it is my turn to disappear. Night, 11:45 p.m. I am in bed now. I am writing in my diary. I want this temporary death to find me working with a pen in my hand. I think this shows that I am a brave man. But who can promise that I will come back? What if this is real death? I don't really trust the government. What if 2 weeks pass and nobody comes back? Who will help us? Not our families, because they will take our money. Then I remembered something. The government says that we will all come back together on the first day of next month. And that day is April 1st. April Fool's Day? What a scary thought. I am feeling a terrible panic, and April 1st. I am alive. So it was not an April Fool's joke. Honestly, I didn't feel the time pass at all. When I woke up in my bed, I still felt the same fear from 2 weeks ago. My diary was on the pillow. I wanted to finish my last sentence, but my pen had no ink. Then I looked at the clock. It showed 10 o'clock. Only then did I understand that everything was over. My watch stopped too. I decided to call Monsieur Malefroy to ask about the date. Monsieur Malefroy was very angry because I woke him up in the middle of the night. He was not happy to hear my voice, but I really wanted to talk about my experience. "You see," I said, "real time and the time we feel are two different things. I am a living example. Time is not the same for everyone." "Maybe," Monsieur Malefroy said, "but now it is 12:30 in the night, and I want to sleep." "No, listen," I said. "This is wonderful news. I didn't lose those 15 days. I will live them later, in the future." "Good luck and good night," Monsieur Malefroy said angrily, and put down the phone. In the morning, around 9 o'clock, I went outside. I was surprised because everything looked different. Spring was finally here. The trees were green, the air was warm, and the streets looked beautiful. Women wore lovely spring clothes. But I felt a little bit angry because the world could live without me for 2 weeks. I met some other people who returned last night too. We talked about our experiences. Old Mrs. Bordeaux stopped me and talked for 30 minutes. She said that during those 15 days, she was in heaven and felt very happy. But the funniest meeting was with Mr. Bouchardon. He disappeared while he was sleeping on March 15th. This morning, he woke up and thought that he escaped the law. He was walking to a wedding party because he believed it was today. But the wedding actually happened 2 weeks ago. I didn't tell him the truth. April 2nd. I went to have a cup of tea with the Roquentons. The old man was incredibly happy. Because he didn't feel his absence at all, he believed that nothing special happened while he was gone. He didn't even think that his wife could deceive him during those 9 days when she was alone. I am happy for him. But Lucette continues to look at me with romantic eyes. I hate these passionate looks when her husband is sitting next to us. April 3rd. I am incredibly angry today. While I was dead, Peruque was very sneaky and always tried to do things quietly and secretly so that no one would know. He changed the opening day of the Mérimée Museum to April 18th. The old liar knew very well that I had to give an important speech at this celebration. This speech was my chance to enter the academy. Unfortunately, on April 18th, I will disappear again. April 7th. Mr. Roquentin died for the second time. This time, he accepted his situation and even invited me to dinner. At midnight, we were sitting in the living room with a bottle of champagne. Before his disappearance, Roquentin was standing near the fireplace. Suddenly, his clothes fell to the carpet. Honestly, it looked quite funny. But Lucette started to laugh so loudly, and I thought her happy laughter was a bit inappropriate and not very polite at that time. April 12th. This morning, a strange visitor unexpectedly came to my house. He was a shy and sick man of about 40. He was a worker and a father of 3 children. He wanted to sell me some of his life tickets because he needed money to feed his family. His wife was sick too, and he was very weak. His job was too hard for him, and his salary was too small. His family was almost starving. His offer made me very uncomfortable. I felt like a monster from a scary fairy tale, a monster that eats human meat. I felt bad, so I said no to his tickets and tried to give him some money as a gift. But the man was very proud. He didn't want to take my money for free, so he wanted to pay me with his life. I couldn't change his mind, so finally I took 1 ticket from him. When the worker left, I put the ticket in a drawer. I firmly decided never to use it. This day of life, taken from another man, could not bring me any joy. April 14th. I met Malefroy in the subway. He told me that the new law was working very well. Rich people had fewer days to spend money, so prices on the black market went down. The government was very happy. People have more food now, Malefroy said. Look at the people in Paris. They look so healthy and happy. His words made me feel both good and bad. It is also clear, Malefroy continued, that the absence of useless people makes our city much better. We live a quieter and easier life now. Only now do we understand how dangerous people without jobs, people who think too much, and nightlife workers are for our society. They always complain, think too much, and create trouble for the government. April 15th. I said no to an invitation from the Carters. They invited me to a goodbye party. Now, it is very popular to invite friends to your house before you disappear. Young people who love jazz music started this fashion. People say that their meetings often become very wild parties. This is scandalous. April 16th. Tonight, I am dying again. I am not afraid at all. May 1st. Last night, when I came back to life, a big surprise was waiting for me. I woke up completely naked. The temporary death happened very suddenly while I was standing on my feet. The same thing happened to the guests of the artist Rondo. But there was a difference. He invited about 10 guests to his goodbye party, and there were both men and women there. Wow, I can only imagine that room. The weather this May is more beautiful than ever. It will be very sad to lose 15 days of this wonderful month. May 5th. Before this month, I already felt that a conflict was starting between the useful and the useless people. Now, it is 100% true. People are becoming angrier every day. The main reason is jealousy. It is easy to understand why the useless people are jealous. They have only 15 days of life. But I am sure that the useful people are jealous of us too. They think our temporary death is like a long holiday. They are tired of working every day, so they are becoming sad and pessimistic. But for us, because life is short, we feel energetic and happy. All these thoughts came to my mind when I had lunch with Malafroy. He was not nice to me. Sometimes he said he was sorry for me, and sometimes he boasted about his perfect life. He tried to make it sound better than it was, just to impress me. He talked to me like I was his enemy, not his friend. May 8th. In the morning, a strange man came to my house. He offered to sell me 50 life tickets for 200 francs each. I was very angry and threw him out of my apartment immediately. He was lucky because he was a very big man, so I didn't hit him. May 10th. 4 days ago, Mr. Roquenton disappeared for the third time. I didn't see Lucette, but people say that she has a new boyfriend now, a weak young man who loves jazz music. Wow, I don't care about her anymore. The girl never had good taste anyway. I always knew that. May 12th. The black market for life tickets is growing very fast. Criminals go from apartment to apartment and ask poor people to sell their days. Old workers with very small pensions and women whose husbands are in prison easily sell their lives. The price for one ticket is now 200 or 250 francs. I think this is the maximum. Most buyers are rich people, and there are not many of them. Also, many people have a conscience, which is like an inner voice that tells them what is right and what is wrong. They think it is wrong to buy and sell human life like a product in a shop. Personally, I will never do this. May 14th. Mrs. Dumont lost all her life tickets. What bad luck! The government will not give her new tickets for 2 months. Mrs. Dumont says that her husband hid the tickets because he wants to get rid of her. I don't think Mr. Dumont is such a bad person. Spring this year is more beautiful than ever. It is very sad that I have to die the day after tomorrow. May 16th. Yesterday, I had dinner at the house of Baroness Klein. A famous church leader, Bishop Delabonnie, was there too. He was the only person in the room who could live every day without stopping. We started to talk about the black market and life tickets. I said very loudly that this business was a terrible crime. I was 100% honest. But also, I wanted the bishop to like me, because he can help me enter the academy." The bishop smiled at me very kindly, like a father. After dinner, the Baroness started to talk to me about the black market again. She said, "Jules, you are a man of great talent. Your books are very important for our country. You must live longer to write more great texts for France." I was not sure what to do, so the Baroness asked the other guests. Everyone laughed at my fears. Then they asked the bishop for his opinion. He told us a short story with a deep meaning. One hard-working farmer had a very small piece of land. His neighbors were lazy and didn't use their fields. So the good farmer bought some land from his lazy neighbors. He worked hard, got a lot of food, and shared it with other people. The guests completely changed my mind. This morning, I was sure that I was right, and I bought 5 life tickets. I don't want to waste these extra days, so I will go to the countryside. I will work on my new book all day and all night there. May 20th. I have been in Normandy for 4 days now. I walk a little, but most of the time I work. The new law did not really change the life of the village people. Even old farmers got 25 days of life a month. I needed one more extra day to finish a chapter of my book, so I asked an old farmer to sell me one of his tickets. He asked about the prices in Paris. I told him that a ticket costs 200 francs there. "Are you laughing at me?" he shouted. "In our village, a pig costs more than that." So we did not make a deal. Tomorrow, after lunch, I will go back to Paris. I want to die in my own bed. June 3rd. What a crazy adventure! My train was late, so the temporary death happened to me when we were traveling to Paris. I came back to life in the same train compartment on June 1st. Unfortunately, I was completely naked again, and the train was not in Paris. It was at a train station in the city of Nantes. So many problems, so much trouble. I still feel sick after that trip. Luckily, I was traveling with a friend, and he sent my clothes to my home. June 4th. I met Melina Baden, a famous actress. She told me an incredible story. Her fans loved her so much that they gave her their life tickets. By May 15th, Melina had 21 extra tickets. She said she used all of them. This means she lived 36 days in May. I didn't believe her and made a joke. Wow, May is a very polite month because it gave you 5 extra days. Melina was very angry because I didn't believe her. I think she is going a bit crazy. June 11th. A big drama happened at the Roquentons' apartment. I only heard about it today. On May 15th, Lucette was in bed with her young boyfriend. Exactly at midnight, they both disappeared. On June 1st, they came back to life in the same bed. But they were not alone. Old Mr. Rokenton came back to life at the exact same moment, and he was lying right between them. Lucette and her boyfriend tried to say, "We don't know each other." But Mr. Rokenton didn't believe them. June 12th. The prices for life tickets are now super high. You cannot buy a ticket for less than 500 francs. It looks like poor people want to live more, and rich people want to live even more. At the beginning of the month, I bought 10 tickets for 200 francs each. The next day, I got a letter from my Uncle Pierre. He sent me 9 more tickets. The poor man has bad leg and back pain, so he decided to sleep through his sickness in temporary death. So now I have 19 tickets. June has 30 days, and I have 15 days of my own. This means I have 5 extra tickets. I can easily sell them for a lot of money. June 15th. Malafroy visited me. He was in a wonderful mood. Now that people pay crazy money to live a full month like him, he is happy and optimistic again. Finally, he understands that his life is perfect and everyone is jealous of him. June 20th. I am working all day and all night. People say that the actress, Melina Baden, is not crazy. There are other people who think they lived more than 31 days in May. A few people told me this directly. But there are always stupid people who believe every silly story. June 22nd. Mr. Roquenton wanted to punish his wife, Lucette. So he went to the black market and spent 10,000 francs on life tickets for himself. His wife disappeared 10 days ago, and now he is completely alone. It looks like Roquenton is sorry for his cruelty. He hates being alone, and he looks very sick and thin now. June 27th. The story about the extra days in May is actually true. Mr. Laverdon, a man who always tells the truth, promised me that he lived 35 days in May. I am afraid that this new law about life will make everyone crazy. June 28th. We must admit that we don't understand time at all. It is a big puzzle. Yesterday morning, I bought a newspaper. The date on it was June 31st. Oh, I said, so June has 31 days now. The woman who sold me the newspaper looked at me with surprise. I read the news headlines. Mr. Churchill travels to New York between June 39th and June 45th. Then, on the street, I heard one man say to another, "I must be in Orleans before the 37th of this month." I walked further and met Bon Rivage. He looked very worried and scared. He told me about his fears, and I tried to make him feel better. But later, I noticed something very important. People who live every day without tickets don't understand that time is broken. Only people with tickets see these strange dates. I talked to Malafroy about my thoughts, but he didn't understand anything. He thought I was completely crazy. But I don't care about these strange things anymore. Since yesterday evening, I am in love. Deeply in love. I met her at Malafroy's house. It was love at first sight. Oh, my beautiful Elisa. June 34th. I saw Elisa yesterday and today. She is exactly the woman of my dreams. We are together now. Tomorrow, she is traveling to the south of France for 3 weeks. We decided to get married when she comes back. I am too happy to write more in my diary. June 35th. I went to the train station with Elisa. When she got on the train, she said, "I will try my best to come back before June 60th. After I thought about her words, I became very worried. Today, I used my last extra life ticket. What date will it be for me tomorrow? July 1st. When I talk to some people about June 35th, they don't understand me. Those 5 extra days did not exist for them. Luckily, I met other people who lived those days too, so they understand the situation. This is so interesting. For me, yesterday was June 35th, but for them, it was June 32nd or June 43. In a restaurant, I met a man who lived until June 66th. He clearly had a lot of extra life tickets. July 2nd. I was sure that Elisa was still away, so I didn't plan to call her. But I felt a strange, bad feeling, so I decided to phone her anyway. Elisa told me that she doesn't know me at all, and we never met. I tried to tell her about our beautiful days together, and that she must believe me. She laughed at my words, but she didn't believe me. However, she agreed to meet me on Thursday. I am terribly scared and worried. July 4th. All the newspapers are writing about the life ticket scandal. It is the biggest scandal of the season. Rich people bought too many tickets, so the new law didn't save any food for the country. Some stories make people very angry. They say that one super rich man, Mr. Vade, lived 1,967 days between June 30th and July 1st. This means he lived more than 5 years in just one night. I talked to a famous philosopher. He tried to explain to me how time and human minds work, but his ideas were too difficult. I didn't understand anything because I could only think about one thing. Tomorrow, I will see Elisa. July 5th. I saw Elisa today. Alas, everything is lost, and I have no hope. She could see that my words were honest. I talked so much about our past that she felt sorry for me, but I couldn't make her love me again. All my beautiful words were useless. I think she now prefers Malafroy. Was our great love on that special evening of June 31st just a quick mistake for her? Where is her heart? I am suffering terribly, but I hope that from this pain I will write a new book. This book will make me very rich. July 6th. The government made a new law. Life tickets are canceled now. Everyone can live every day again. But I don't care anymore.